the for our little holiday workshop, navigating the holidays as a vegan. So the workshop is being put on today by the Animal Activism Mentorship Program. So if you don't follow us on Facebook, again, Animal Activism Mentorship Program on Facebook. What we do is mentor vegans that want to become active, and we're trying to get more vegans to get active for the animals, so we mentor them. And we also mentor vegans that have done activism and want to take leadership roles or want to take control in, planning their own events and things of that sort. So we just, if you're interested in the program, you can sign up. You can always send us an email directly and we can get you to the right place to get signed up for the program. So thank you again for being here. This workshop is going to be done today by myself, Payton, and Trey, and we're all mentors in the program. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. Like I said, my name is Annette. I've been a vegan for a little over 5 years. I've been an activist for almost 4. And I'm part of the Animal Activism Mentorship Program, part of the Animal Liberation Action Squad. I've done all types of activism, from disruptions to vigils, protests, marches, and I also run the Done with Dairy page on Facebook. So if no one is part of that, you can join the Done with Dairy Facebook page as well. And again, I just want to say thank you to everyone for being here. And then I'm going to go ahead and let Payton introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Payton. I'm from Hendersonville, North Carolina. I've been a vegan for, it was 3 years this December 1st, and I've been actively speaking up for the animals for about 2 years. So I try to do whatever activism I can, whenever I can. I currently live at an animal sanctuary in Flat Rock or Hendersonville, North Carolina, called Sweet Bear. So anytime I'm not doing boots on the ground activism, I'm doing activism here at the sanctuary. And I'm super excited to be talking to you all today about navigating the holidays as a vegan, because I know that's something I struggled with a lot. So I'm happy to talk to all of you about that today.
Hey everybody, I'm Trey. I'm from South Carolina here in the United States. Today, later on, I'm going to be talking about managing your energy during this time, during the holidays. And yeah, I've been vegan since March of 2017 and been doing activism pretty much ever since. And all different kinds of things, leafleting, virtual reality, disruptions, protests, pressure campaigns, mentoring activists, workshops like this one, outreach events, just anything that I can do. Lately, I've been kind of focusing in on pressure campaigns and mentoring activists, so that's kind of what I'm really into right now. And yeah, I'll kick it back to Annette to get us started.
All right, thank you. And I also want to let everyone know that the workshop is being recorded. It'll be shared on our YouTube channel, and then anyone that wants to see it and have it to watch it over again for the tips and advice, you just can email Trey, and he'll be able to get a copy over to you. So just want to let everybody know that. Okay, so thank you so much again for being here. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here real quick. So the holidays, we know already that the holidays is not the easiest time of the year for people in general. It's one of the times of the year that most people get depressed, and for numerous reasons. So we know in general already it's a tough time, so it's even tougher as a vegan. And I know that we kind of missed November, and we apologize for that. We should have probably did the workshop a little before Thanksgiving. But I know for me personally, Thanksgiving is hard because of, the millions of turkeys that are being killed to be on people's tables to give thanks for, life and blessings and prosperity and whatever reason people give thanks for. But yet they're doing it in front of a dead carcass. And as you continue throughout the holiday, it's just the same concept, same thing for Christmas and New Year's. You're celebrating life, you're celebrating family. And as vegans, we see how many animals are suffering and being killed to, for people to celebrate 45 million turkeys. And then it goes on to Christmas. A lot of people eat turkeys on Christmas and pigs on Christmas. I come from, I'm Puerto Rican, so my family for the holidays, for Christmas and New Year's, they do pigs. So we see that, and people like to share photos on Facebook, and it's all over the TV, it's all over the radio, it's all over social media. So it's a really hard time of the year because a lot of people are, suffer, depressed for other reasons during the holiday. And then as a vegan, you come and you get on there, and then this is on top of everything else. So we just want to help everyone and give everybody some tips and advice on how to just navigate yourself through this time of the year and try to, take care of yourself, your mental health, and get through this time of the year. So the first thing that I wanted to touch on a little bit is just self-care around this time of the year. I think one of the most important things is to surround yourself with other vegans as much as possible. If you have vegan friends, if you're active and you have a local activist group, try to
Oh no, Annette.
I wondered if I was the only one she was frozen for.
No.
Uh-oh.
I'll text her real quick.
Sorry about that, everybody. Technical difficulties. If she doesn't come back in like the next few seconds, I can go ahead and
Okay.
Sorry, everybody. Can everybody hear me and see me now? Okay, I'm so sorry about that. I don't know why. I was having internet problems the other day, so maybe that's probably why. Okay, so let's get back to where I was. So, okay, so if, like I was saying, just important to be around like-minded people and to support one another, and don't be afraid to reach out to people. I would say, don't ever be afraid. If we're friends on Facebook, for everybody here, if you ever need someone to talk to, don't ever hesitate to reach out to me, to Trey, to Payton, to any of the mentors in the mentorship program. If you're feeling down and out because of the holidays or any reason really in general, but don't ever be afraid to reach out to someone and ask for advice or just to talk, or hey, can you join me for dinner at our local vegan restaurant? I just need to be around like-minded people right now. Another thing, if you have a local sanctuary, or even if you don't have a sanctuary, go to the shelter. Spend some time with the dogs and the cats at the shelter. They need love during the holidays too. You can volunteer there during the holidays. I know they're looking for people. Go to the sanctuaries and just spend time with the animals that are happy, that are safe. Share the love that you have with the dogs and the cats that need help. And that'll make you feel better because you're going to surround yourself with life, and you're going to surround yourself with your friends that are living happy, safe, and free. And it'll remind you of why we do what we do for the animals, and and that way you can have some happiness. And also, don't be afraid to cook yourself a nice holiday meal. I mean, if you want to do a big old spread of food and a vegan roast and mashed potatoes and sweet potato pie, and try yourself out on recipes. Go Google some vegan recipes and say, for the first time ever, I'm gonna bake me a vegan pumpkin pie if you never have. And again, invite friends over and people that that would be more than happy to enjoy a vegan meal with you, even if they're not vegan, because I know personally that I do have friends that are not vegan that wouldn't mind sharing a vegan meal with me. If I were to cook something, they would be more than happy to come over. So, and surround yourself with that atmosphere. You create that atmosphere for yourself where you're going to feel happy. And, and also during the holidays is a great time to go out and do activism. Go out there and do activism. Go online and look up and see who's got some protests going on or some leafletting going on, or go do some chalking in, in a here in Orlando, we have Lake Eola, and it's covered in Christmas lights, and that's where our Christmas tree is. So it's a perfect place to go out and give leaflets and do some chalktivism and talk to people during the holidays about why they should consider, going vegan for the holidays, or make it the decision not to harm animals. And I think that's another great way, because now not only are you doing something to help the animals, but you're fighting against the normalism during these holidays of people eating animals. You can go out there and fight against it, and that you feel like you're doing something to help the animals, which is good for us because that's our goal, is to help the animals. So I think those are very important things to do. Another thing that I think too that we need to remind ourselves too is social media. Social media can be really hard sometimes. So if you feel like you need to take a break from social media during the holidays, don't be afraid to do it. Take a little time away from it. If you want to go on and post some activism, some things on there once a week or something, then go. You don't have to stop, posting your animal rights post or anything like that, but don't stay on social media scrolling through pictures, because I know I have a lot of friends and family that are not vegan. I mean, I'm vegan on Facebook for 12 years. I've been vegan 5 years. So before I ever went vegan, I have a whole bunch of non-vegan friends and family on my Facebook. So they're going to be posting and sharing things during the holidays. And as you're scrolling, those things can become heavy on you and burdensome on you and make you feel sad. So just take a break and stay away from it if you have to. If you feel that it's taking a lot out of you, then just stay away from it. Now, as you prepare for the holidays and you start thinking, what am I going to do during the holidays? Am I going to spend time with my non-vegan family and friends, or am I not? Remember to do what is right for you, what works for you. Me personally, last year for Thanksgiving, I did not go to my family's house because I knew none of my family is vegan. It's only myself and my son. So I knew they were going to be eating my friends, and they were going to be, having things that I didn't want to be part of. I didn't want to see. So I chose to cook a vegan Thanksgiving dinner for myself and my son at home. And it's okay to do that. We don't have to feel guilty. We don't have to feel obligated to be somewhere that we don't feel comfortable being. If you don't feel comfortable being there because they're going to have dead body parts on the table, that is your right. It's your well-being. It's your mental health. And people have to respect that. So don't ever feel guilty if you decide not to, for whatever reason. Another option always, like the year before last year, I showed up after everyone had dinner. I ate, and I showed up later when I knew they were going to be playing games and listening to music and talking, and that's fine too. Eat before you go. Don't participate in the dinner and show up later if you really want to be around your family or your friends and things of that sort. And that's an option. And the third option, I mean, if you do want to be there, because I know, a lot of us grew up with traditions and family traditions, and some of us want to keep those things going, and we look forward to the holidays because of the memories that we've had growing up, and we want to keep that going. So if you choose to go to your family's house for dinner, don't feel guilty about that either. Just talk to your family before you go. Bring vegan food with you. Ask, if you have a separate table for yourself, if you need to. Even if you bring a little folding table and set it up and have, how they have the kids' table, we'll have your vegan table. You still feel like you're part of what's going on with the family. You're not missing out on being with the family during the holidays, but at the same time, you have your own little safe space there, with your vegan food on your table. And that way you feel a little bit more comfortable. And again, it's always a personal choice, what you want to do. But if that's, something that's will make you feel better, then you have your own little safe space, and, you have your vegan stuff there. So you don't have to sit at the table with the dead turkey or whatever it is that's being consumed. And when you get ready to go to your family's house, like I said, have a talk with your family. If you're newly vegan or if you've been vegan for a long time, my family all knows already that I'm vegan. They know that I've been, so they'll sometimes call me and ask me, we're going to make you some vegan rice, or I'm going to make you a vegan mac and cheese. But I know not everybody has that. So don't be afraid to call and say, I want to be there for the holidays, but can you guys make some vegan options? I'm going to bring some stuff. Also, I want to set some boundaries. Please respect my wishes, respect me. Don't poke fun at me. Don't say things that are going to upset me purposely, to tease me and again, it's very important, and it's okay to set your boundaries with your family and with your friends, because they need to respect you. This isn't just some whim you're on. This isn't just some trend that you're on. This is lives that you're trying to save, and this is, you live your life not hurting anyone. You don't want to kill, you don't want to hurt animals, and they need to respect how important this is to you, and they shouldn't poke fun at you, shouldn't tease you while you're just trying to be there to spend time with your family. And it's always okay to talk to them before you head out there, before that day, and say, I want to be with you guys. I love you. You're my family, but I expect you to respect me, and I don't expect you to, make fun of me. The moment I'm uncomfortable, I'm leaving. And that's okay, because they want to be respected, you want to be respected. Respect is mutual. And I mean, that's the way I am with my family. Like, I'm like, don't go there, because I'm not going to deal with it. I'm done. And for the most part, everyone in my family respects me. They don't make fun of me. They don't tease or anything like that. And when you're there, don't be unapologetic. Don't feel like you have to tiptoe around everybody. But at the same time, you don't want to pick a fight or be, starting any troubles, but don't use euphemisms. If they're eating a turkey, they're eating a turkey. If they're eating a pig, they're eating a pig. They're not eating pork, or they're not eating pork chops, or they're eating a pig, period. That's a pig on the table. That's a turkey on the table. That's cow's breast milk. I say that sometimes to my mom. She's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, because that's what it is, but I'll say it in there, but I'm like, I'm not going to fake it, because it's the truth. That's what it is, And so that's what I mean by don't be nice, but unapologetic. So, if you don't have to say anything, then turn around and walk away and don't say it. If you know it's going to start an argument or something like that, then just kind of like just walk away and go to the other room, or go sit down and, with your aunt or uncle or somebody and talk about something else. Be confident in who you are. Be confident in your stance against animal abuse and your stance for animal liberation. Then they know that this is something that you're serious about, and no matter what they say or do, you're never going to apologize for standing up against what's going on to these billions of animals a year, in this world, just for taste and pleasure. Always be strategic, always, gauge the situation. Don't be defensive. Don't instigate. Don't be passive aggressive. I laugh at that one because I can be very passive aggressive. It's just, I ain't gonna lie about it. Some people look at me like, really, Annette? I'm like, I'm sorry, you know, and then I do it, and then my mom will catch me and she gets mad at me, and then we'll get into an argument about it because I'll say things in a certain way, and they already know, she'll be like, you know, she'll catch on to it very quickly. So it's something that I have to work on personally. But, you know, what does that do? It does end up causing an argument. It does end up, you know, causing issues that you don't want. And choose your battles. If you see that somebody, there's always that one person in the room that wants to say something. And at that point, you need to choose your battles. Do I participate? Do I continue with it? And then make it turn into something that it shouldn't turn into? Or do I just walk away and ignore it and keep on going about my business? You know, there's always a time and a place to educate. There's always that moment where you can say something, whether it be during Christmas, a birthday, a Thanksgiving dinner, whatever. You always do have a chance to educate people, but you have to be wise and you have to know when to say it, because you know it's the right time that they're going to listen to you and not argue with you. That's the way I am with my family. Sometimes we'll be in the, you know, talking and joking, and maybe my cousin will say something about the bread, or is the bread vegan? And then I'll take that opportunity to educate them very quickly. And then they'll be like, oh, okay. And then sometimes they'll ask me something and I gauge the situation. I'm like, okay, this is my opportunity to tell them, you know, what happens to the animals is wrong, you know, and it's sad. And, you know, and I'll have a quick little conversation and plant a couple of seeds, and then I leave it there. So that's where there's always a time to do activism. We never stop, but we just have to be wise when we're doing it around, especially around our family, because we already know, I'm sure everybody can relate how family is. So it could go bad real quick, or it could, you know, it could be good. And I speak from experience. You know, I can tell my mom one little thing and it turns into an argument. Another day I tell her the same thing and we talk about it and we keep on walking. So you never know. But just be smart, be wise, use wisdom, and don't instigate, don't, you know, because then you're going to be that vegan, and you don't want to be that vegan. You want to be, yes, the vegan that is not gonna, you know, that's gonna be unapologetic. They know that they can't play with you. They know you're serious, but at the same time, you know, they don't mind being around you because they know that when you have to say something, you'll say it, but at the same time, you're good to go. So, I mean, that's kind of what I have, but I just really want to focus on everybody thinking about your mental health during this time of the year. Think about yourself, and don't be afraid to be selfish sometimes when it's your health and your mindset and your well-being. And like I said earlier, it's okay to say no. It's okay to ask for respect. It's okay to set boundaries, because you need to be okay. And if you're not okay, then you're not going to be okay for the animals, and you're not going to be okay for anybody else. So you always have to take care of yourself and your well-being so that you can help and continue to do the things that you want to do and continue to change the world and make the world a better place. So never be afraid to take care of yourself first. That's why I said, if you decide that you don't want to spend time with certain people during the holidays, it's okay to say no. Maybe next year I'll come by. This year is a no for me. Next year, maybe. Or I'm not going to do Thanksgiving, I'll do New Year's, or vice versa. Like this year I did Halloween and we hung out, but there wasn't dinner for Halloween. It was a party. It was a get together. Thanksgiving, I stayed home. Christmas, we'll see what happens. I'll gauge it, and I don't know. I may not. I may. It just depends on what's going to happen. So you choose and you decide what you're going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and let Payton take over now. And thank you so much, guys.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Annette. It's great to remind everybody about self-care, because that's so important during the holidays, especially. I mean, anytime we're around family and friends or people that we love in our life who maybe aren't as supportive, it's always important to remember self-care. So thank you for talking about that today. What I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about is consistency. So, and like staying true to your morals. So consistency, in my opinion, is one of the most important things when dealing with family or friends. And this is especially prevalent around the holidays. You know, we might see these people, maybe this is the only time you get together with certain members of your family, or you get together with old friends, you know, during the holidays to celebrate. These people have watched you, oftentimes if they're your family, watched you grow up, or if they've been lifelong friends, they've known you in your pre-vegan days, especially if this is one of the few times a year you get together. It's so important to be consistent, and every time they see you, they're reminded of who you are now. You know, you've changed from the person, the pre-vegan that they once knew. So it's just so important for every chance that you see these people to remind them of, you know, this is who you are now. These are your morals. So along those lines, it is so important to not give in. Annette touched on some of the guilt that family members might try, or you know, friends might try to push on you, especially during the holidays. And it's important to know what your hard lines are and stick to them. So as vegans, we're all against animal exploitation in any forms, but some of us might have harder lines than others. Some of us might not sit at a table where animal products are being consumed. Some of us, you know, might not want to sit on a leather couch or a bed, you know, with wool or some other animal products. We might not want that. Those are not necessarily applicable to every vegan, but if those are your hard lines, it's important to know what those are and stick to them, even through the holidays, even, you know, in the face of old friends or family members that you haven't seen in a while. Don't give in, you know, just because it's the holidays. Some of our older family members and friends, you know, not older in age, but older in like, you know, time that we've known them, might be a little less supportive. But it's so important to stay consistent, because if you falter during the holidays, it's going to be harder for your friends and family to take you seriously when it's not the holidays. So if you're willing to sit at a table where animal product, if this is your hard line, you know, it's sitting at a table where animal products are being consumed on Thanksgiving, you know, on December 15th, you know, random day, you decide not to sit at a table, they're going to be like, oh, well, you did it on Thanksgiving, you know, they're going to take your morals less seriously. So that's another reason it's important to be consistent. It's important to get across to them, kind of like I said in the beginning, that this is who you are now. This is your new life. These are the morals that you've decided to finally align your actions with your morals. This isn't, you know, a fad or a phase. This is who you are now. So that's why you're being so consistent, because these are your morals. It's not just, you're not just trying to be difficult. You're not trying to get attention and upset everybody. You're just trying to live in consistency with the morals that you've probably had all your life. So it can be hard to stay consistent, right? Even, you know, especially when we have these traditions that we've done year after year. This especially goes to like Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, maybe New Year's, you know, where traditions are pretty much followed. Maybe you've even done these since you were a kid, since you can remember. And that can make it especially hard to stay consistent. So I've just come up with a few alternatives. I'm mainly speaking from my experience, traditions that I can think of. So I'm probably going to miss some traditions in your life. And that would be something I would love to hear in the question and answer portion at the end. So this will be a great opportunity to explain to your friends and family how we can all be together for the holidays and how we can continue similar traditions just without murdering or exploiting animals. So maybe get one of your family members like a faux skin or a faux fur gift, if that's something that's typically given. Maybe like, you know, wool socks or something like that. Maybe one of your family members, you know, knits something made of wool every year. So this would be a good opportunity to just explain to them, hey, you know, you can still do this, just not with animal products. Obviously, holiday meals are extremely easy to make vegan. There are thousands, maybe millions of vegan alternatives, vegan recipes online. You know, if you just what I do is whatever dish your family usually makes, green bean casserole, sweet potato pie, just Google that with the word vegan in front of it, and you'll find probably 100 different recipes on how to make those things vegan. So that's a really easy switch there. So I don't know where everybody is from in the world, but here down south in America, I know in my family, at least one portion of my family always goes hunting on Christmas. So that is a tradition for them. So one year, that certain side of my family, I was spending Christmas with them, and this was, while I was vegan. This was the first Christmas being vegan that I spent with them, and they asked me if I wanted to go hunting with them, and obviously I said no, but I'll go to the shooting range with you. So we went to the shooting range, and we all shot a bunch of guns, and nobody died. So that was a very easy switch for them. They enjoyed it. It's still basically, we were still in nature, still shooting guns. It was just nobody died. Or if it's a nature thing, you can go on a hike in the woods and talk. I know for my family, a lot of when I was younger, the thing about hunting that we so enjoyed was got to spend hours together. A lot of times we wouldn't even see an animal. It was just spending that time together, talking, reconnecting out in the woods. So you can just do that going on a hike. So I know something else I grew up with was baking cookies, for Santa. Like I said, very easy thing to make vegan. Just Google vegan chocolate chip cookies. There's so many recipes out there. And that might be, if that's something you do with younger siblings, or younger family members or friends, that would be a good opportunity to talk to the kids about the importance of veganism and help them understand, why their family member might not come around for the times where they're eating animal products, or just to connect with them a little bit. So for Hanukkah, I know lighting, I'm not Jewish, honestly, but I know lighting the menorah is a tradition. Just making sure that the candles are made from soy wax instead of beeswax. And then I have a couple links, if anybody's interested, to vegan latkes. I know that's a traditional recipe. I'm going to put it in the chat. They're potato pancakes. Even if you're not Jewish, it's a great recipe. So that is just another alternative that can easily be made vegan and cruelty-free. The last thing I want to talk about, one second. Sorry, the last thing I want to talk about today is the Liberation Pledge. So for those of you who don't know, the Liberation Pledge is a pledge that some vegans or some people take, saying, maybe some of you here have taken the pledge, saying that you will not sit at a table where animal products are being consumed. So I'll just read directly from the website. There's like 3 tenets to the Liberation Pledge, or 3 principles. 1, you publicly refuse to eat animals, so you're living vegan, which, maybe we're all doing. 2, you publicly refuse to sit anywhere where animals are being eaten. And then 3, you encourage other people to take the pledge. So those are the 3 principles of the Liberation Pledge. It's a powerful form of protest that you can do every single time you eat a meal, every single time you're around somebody else who's eating a meal that might be non-vegan. So it's especially powerful if you're celebrating holidays with people who are pre-vegan. You can explain to them, I've taken this pledge, here's what this pledge is, and this is why I've taken it. And this can help your family members take you more seriously, and it can go along with being consistent. They're realizing that veganism isn't just about what you put in your mouth, right? It's about being against this integrated system of violence, this systematic animal exploitation. It goes so far beyond not eating an animal product. It's really, a core belief that you have, and this is something that you take seriously. I'm just gonna say a personal story that I've experienced recently on Thanksgiving. So I've been vegan for 3 years now, and towards the beginning, I tried to take the Liberation Pledge. This is while I was still living at home, because I went vegan in high school. So while I was still living at home, I tried to take the Liberation Pledge, and it was going for maybe a month or so, and it just wasn't having the desired effect. So my family members, instead of saying, okay, we'll eat vegan around you, they would just be like, okay, go in the other room. They weren't really coming around. So I ultimately gave it up, which looking back was not the right decision to do, in my opinion, but it happened. So fast forward to this Thanksgiving, I said, now I'm not living at home. I said, hey, if you all, want me to come home, if you want me to see me for Thanksgiving, we're going to have to do a 100% vegan Thanksgiving. I'm not sitting at a table, and I haven't retaken the liberation pledge. I just didn't want to sit at a table where animal products were being consumed on this day of thanks, while we're all praying. I just wasn't something I wanted to do. So I told them, I'm not going to come home if there's animal products on the table. And they said yes. So we had an all vegan Thanksgiving this year. So their mentality, my family's mentality, has definitely changed since I first went vegan to now. So I wouldn't, maybe in the past, if you weren't able to be around your family or your friends and they weren't super supportive, just try again. Maybe this holiday season, try and reach back out to them. Let them know your boundaries. Let them know you want to see them. You want to spend this season with them, but you're just not going to be supportive of their choices to participate in violence. And maybe they'll come around. Maybe they haven't. Maybe their views haven't changed. But I personally never thought my family was going to be supportive at all. They openly made it clear to me in the beginning that they weren't supportive. And now look at them. We had a 100% vegan Thanksgiving. That was extremely successful. I'm not trying to brag on my cooking skills, but they said it was one of the best Thanksgivings they've ever had. So, people do change, and your family and your friends, they love you. So they want you to be included. So I would just encourage everybody to reach back out and to always try. So that is all I have to say. Just the importance of consistency, the importance of sticking to your morals. And maybe this will be a year that you try some new traditions with your families where you can actually participate. So thank you all for listening to that, and I will turn it over to Trey.
Hey, everybody. Just give me a second. I'm going to share my screen here. All right. Can everybody see my screen? Give me a thumbs up. Cool. All right. So my portion, as I alluded to earlier, is going to be about managing your energy during the holidays. So that can be a difficult task because I know me personally, like I just want so bad for my whole family to be vegan, and I can really get caught up on that. But anyway, we'll get to that later. All right, so when talking to friends and family about veganism, don't give up, but don't burn out. So what I mean by that is you don't have to call them out every single time you see them with, consuming dead bodies or breast milk or ovulations or bee vomit or, whatever they're eating or consuming. But, it's kind of like Annette said, keep that firm stance, and kind of like what Payton said, keep your consistency. You don't want to overburden yourself every single time, having to say something every single time. At some point it might be a lost cause. It's up to you to gauge that situation and figure out, what's best. Am I wearing down on this person? Might they change if I keep bringing it up, or am I just, annoying them every single time that I do it? Is it worth it? Is it worth my energy? Is it worth the strain that I'm putting on this friendship or relationship? Is it getting anywhere? Is it going anywhere? That's all things that you want to consider when you're talking to your friends and family about veganism. I know last Thanksgiving, just, a month ago or something, I went to my family gathering because this is really the only time I see my family is at holiday get-togethers, and I don't want to not see them at all. I love them. I don't agree with all of their decisions on, how they perpetuate animal abuse, but I do love them. And so I want to see them. So, we had a separate table, kind of, I think Annette mentioned that as an option. We had a separate table where we had some vegan mac and cheese. We had some, fried potatoes and a vegan holiday roast. And we invite others, like, hey, if you want to try some of this, we've got more than enough. Usually nobody ever does. Every once in a while, somebody might try a bite or something like that. But the option's there. And then, after everybody's done eating, we kind of mingle around with everybody else. And that's just how I handle it personally. I have taken the Liberation Pledge, so I'm not going to sit with anybody that's consuming that stuff. But it's kind of a good way to hold firm in that if you have taken the Liberation Pledge, or if you just don't want to see that and be around that for your own mental health or whatever the case may be. But also, be able to have that time with your family. Use your energy on open minds. So some of your friends and family that you see for the holidays, and this could really be applied just in general. Some of them are going to be open-minded. Some of them are not. It's kind of like what Payton was saying. A lot of your friends and family that have known you for a long time, they know the past you. They know the you that was throwing down on cheeseburgers and, cheese fries and hot dogs. They know that version of you. So to them, it seems weird that all of a sudden you're this changed person with totally different ethics, with a totally different diet and, all this stuff. So it's harder for them to figure that out. It's just like I had this job one time, and I worked there kind of like as an intern, sort of. And, then eventually my old boss moved on and I got his old job. And I felt like some of the people at that job were still treating me like the intern, you know what I'm saying? Even though I had the experience, and even though I was in this new role, it can be kind of that same way with friends and family. They're still treating you like the intern, or, your past self, they just don't understand, or they don't get it. So the point is, as activists, we only have so much energy, and we should really only be spending a massive amount of energy if it's worthwhile. If we're having a conversation that looks like the picture at the top, the two people arguing, just, yelling back and forth at each other, that's not productive. It sucks your energy. And now, you know what, maybe you were going to go do activism the day after Christmas, but now Christmas has worn you out and you can't do it because you kind of got your soul sucked by your argumentative friends or family members. So that's something you want to avoid. Now, that doesn't mean you give them a free pass altogether. You still want to mention it. You still want to be firm in your beliefs. Just, be strategic about it is basically what I'm saying. You only have so much energy. You need to preserve your mental health to a degree, like we all do. So keep that in mind. You're not betraying the animals if you don't say something every single time. So consider the dynamic. What I mean by this is, for example, you may live with someone who's not vegan yet. It might be a partner, like a spouse, or it might be a child, or maybe you live with your parents or something like that. You've got to consider this dynamic. So I went vegan after I was already out on my own. But, for a kid or somebody who's just still living with their parents, or maybe they're taking care of their parents, or whatever the case may be, it can be a weird dynamic, especially with parents, because they've known you since day one, right? So if it's kind of like Payton's situation, she took that Liberation Pledge, that's what she wanted to do, but it was brutal and it was probably taking a toll on her mental health, just like having to have that tension with someone you live with every day. I mean, find some kind of, I don't want to say a compromise, because obviously you want to stay vegan and not participate in that, but it's not like you're not vegan if you share a table, or it's not like you're not vegan if you don't argue about it every single time. Consider that, especially if you're under someone else's roof or something like that, figure out what's worth it. And if you're under someone else's roof that has the ability to ground you or punish you or something like that, maybe you're making a fuss at home and then they don't let you go do activism. You're grounded or something. You know, I mean, it might just not be worth it. They're not going to listen to you anyway. But I mean, if they will listen to you, that's great. But if they're not going to anyway, you may as well reserve your energy and spend it on someone who might be open to change. This is a big one. Don't feel like a failure. So like I was kind of hinting at the beginning, you know, I really wish my whole entire family and all my friends were vegan. I really wish that. It hurts a little extra when you see someone that you care about participating in violence as opposed to seeing a stranger do it. At least with me, it hurts me a little more if I see somebody I really care about participating in the very thing that I am, you know, dedicating my life to be against. It's really tough. So, and that's part of the reason I took the Liberation Pledge, to be honest. It was for the animals, but it was also a little bit for myself. I don't want to see that. It hurts me. I don't want to see someone I love, someone I care about, participating in this violence. It's terrible for me. It's terrible for my mental state, and I just don't want to deal with it. And that's my choice. That's okay. But don't feel like a failure if you can't get your friends and family to go vegan. These are some of the hardest people to get to go vegan. And part of it's because of that dynamic I was talking about where I made the comparison to the intern. Part of it's like that. They've known you from day one, or you've known each other since 6th grade, and now you're in your 30s, or, you know, whatever the case may be. You know, they're not always going to listen to you. And it doesn't mean you're a failure as an activist if they don't. Those are some of the hardest people to get across to. You know, Gary Yourofsky is somebody who has turned millions of people vegan, or at least like exposed millions of people to the message. And, you know, some of his own family members are not vegan, and he's arguably turned more, I mean, the animals turned people vegan, but you know what I mean? Like he's introduced veganism to people who have gone vegan, arguably more than any other person, maybe. So, you know, I always think about that when I start feeling down about not being able to get some of the people I love to go vegan. I also want to talk a little bit about the effect that your strong moral stance may have on relationships. You know, I mean, I haven't lost any friends or, you know, like ended any relationships over my veganism or me being an animal rights activist, but, you know, I mean, it can definitely have an effect, and you might become closer if it's somebody who empathizes, or you might become more distant. And, you know, that unfortunately has happened to me in a few instances. You know, I mean, it's just like I'm spending less time with some people because they invite me over to grill up some chicken bodies, and I don't want to do that, so I'm not going to go, you know. And I mean, that's just kind of the way it is sometimes. So it's like Annette was saying, you know, surround yourself with some like-minded people. It hurts when your relationships become distant, and you don't want them to be like that. But it is something that happens, and sometimes it's something that we have to deal with. So guard your own mental health and everything like that. And being around other vegans and other activists is really, really something that helps me. I'm so thankful for my vegan friends. I'd probably be insane if it weren't for them. I really appreciate them. And it helps me get through some of the struggles that I face as a vegan and as an activist. So I strongly recommend that. I just wanted to give some personal experiences kind of about the holidays and in general. So I already gave my example of what I did for Thanksgiving this year, sitting at the separate table, having a vegan meal separately, but being able to mingle afterwards. But also I just wanted to share a quick story, and some of you have maybe heard this before if you know me, but or if you've been to one of these workshops before. But when I first went vegan, one of the things I was worried about most is a tradition of mine, and that's, you know, the holidays are often about tradition. You know, that's something that's ingrained into the holidays, and it was a tradition that we do every week on Sundays. I hang out with my grandparents and my grandmother, who I call my Meemaw. Meemaw will cook up some vegan mac and cheese now and some fried potatoes and vegan chocolate oatmeal cookies and stuff like that. But before I went vegan, we were, consuming the coagulated breast milk and all that nasty stuff. But it was my Meemaw's like famous recipes that everybody in my whole extended family loves, right? So I was really nervous about being like, Meemaw, I know you've been doing this for like longer than I've been alive, but what's up? So, uh, but I explained it to her, and I brought her some vegan cheese and some vegan butter, and I was like, hey, just do what you already do, replace it with this if you don't mind. And she did. And it's been awesome. At first I was the only vegan, so she'd make me a separate little batch and she'd still make the non-vegan version for everybody else. And then time went on and my girlfriend went vegan. Okay, so now we've still got a separate batch, but there's still some non-vegan stuff. Okay, well now my sister goes plant-based. All right, so now Mimo ain't even making the breast milk version anymore, I mean, so it just kind of worked out like that. It took a little bit of patience, which is difficult. It's difficult to have patience when what the animals are going through is an emergency. But it worked out in this instance. And, even when we would go do like Christmas or Thanksgiving or whatever, my Meemaw would bring her, famous chocolate oatmeal cookies. And before she was making a vegan version, and then she was making the non-vegan version. Well, eventually she realized they taste exactly the same, and she was wasting a bunch of time and energy and money on creating two different ones. So now she just makes them all vegan, and that's great. Not everybody's experience is going to be like that. And I've had some experiences that are not so good too when it comes to friends and family, but I wanted to share a positive, just that it is possible. But yeah, and then, there's a friend of mine that I've been friends with. We're more like brothers, really. I love him to death. And one time we were hanging out, and this might be something you experience in the holidays. You're hanging out with an old friend or whatever. And I was like, hey man, I'm hungry. Let's go eat. I'll drive. I'll pay if you order vegan. And he refused that, which to me seems totally ridiculous. But that's going to happen. That's going to happen, and we have to deal with it. So I was like, well, we're not taking my car because I'm not riding with the carcass in my car. So, I held firm in my stance, and, we figured it out. But so sometimes you'll have those bad experiences too. But like I said, just do what you need to. Like if you need to put some distance there, then do that. If you need to skip this year, then do that. Do whatever you need to do. If it's worth it to you and you want to hang out with these people, just make sure you've got some time with some vegans afterwards. Maybe you go Christmas night, Christmas during the day, you go hang out with your family, Christmas at night, or maybe the next day, or New Year's even, you go hang out with the vegans and with like-minded people who you can rant to and stuff like that. So, lastly, I just wish you all the best of luck going into the holiday season with whatever obstacles you may face. Hope you have a very Merry Christmas or whatever holiday you celebrate, and have a Happy New Year. I'm hoping that 2021 is better than 2020 because it's been terrible. but a lot of great things have come out of 2020 as well, including, AAM. AAM was born out of the pandemic, so I am thankful for that. We got to try to see the silver lining in everything, right? So wish you all the best going into the holiday season. And yeah. And kick it to you, Annette.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, Trey. And we just found out that Santa's vegan too, so yes. Get a picture at the end.
I gotta say something about that real quick. So yeah, I was in Pensacola, I think a couple years ago, and I called an Uber, and my Uber driver looked like Santa. He had the Santa hat on, and he had like a Hawaiian shirt on. He had the white beard, and he was giving out candy canes and stuff like that. And I was like, it's so good to know you're driving a minivan now instead of exploiting those reindeer like that.
That's awesome. Ian has, I don't know how many of you are familiar with the elf on the shelf. Well, Ian's elf is vegan. So, Matthew. So, we have a vegan elf in the house, which is pretty awesome. So, so yeah. But thank you, everybody. I mean, great points, Payton and Trey. Thank you so much. And I think, everybody is kind of getting the message here is always stand firm, don't waver, don't be consistent on behind your morals, never wave on that, but also always make decisions that work for you. Don't be afraid to take care of yourself in the process, because we can't always please others at our sacrifice. So always remember that. And I think that's just in life in general, because sometimes we do things for people we love and care about at our own sacrifice, and then we end up paying the price in the long run for it. And I mean, I think we all probably have personal experiences. I know I do. So it's okay to say no, and there's nothing wrong with that. So we're going to go ahead and open up the floor for any questions that anybody may have. I did see one question pop up in the chat while Trey was speaking, and it was from, and I'm sorry, I don't want to butcher your name, Cassia. And it says, they said, what if you've lost respect for your relatives who decide to continue to abuse animals? So that's a good one. Go ahead, Trey.
I can try to take this one. Thanks for your question. That's an excellent question. Yeah, I feel that. I feel that. It is, I think, important to remember where we came from, and remember that, we were once not vegan. We were once supporting this. Now, with that being said, maybe you've made it well known what they're contributing to. And even then, there's a sense of like societal brainwashing, even if they know the truth. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what your specific situation is, but it is important to remember where we came from. But if you remember where you came from and put yourself in the mindset of your former non-vegan self, and you really think about it, and still you have no respect for this person, then yeah, I mean, I think you got to do what you got to do. I mean, if it's worth it to you to continue the relationship, then do it. If it's a drain on you, I mean, I think that goes for anything, even when it's not related to veganism. Like if somebody's toxic, or doesn't want to listen to you at all, like doesn't have any respect for your lifestyle or your opinion, then I don't know, are they really a true friend? Are they really a true, somebody that loves you? Something to think about. Every situation is different, and I don't know your exact situation. So it's hard for me to, give a totally 100% accurate answer or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, if you've weighed the options and you've really lost respect for this person, I mean, I don't tend to hang out with people I don't respect, or hang out with them any more than I have to. And it takes kind of a lot to lose my respect. But yeah, everybody's got to weigh that for themselves. Anybody else want to chime in?
One thing that I always say is, you can love someone, but you don't have to like them. And there's a difference between loving and liking someone. There's a lot of family members that love each other, but they don't like to be around each other. They don't like to hang out with a certain person because that person's negative or toxic or just not a nice person. But does that mean that they want them to be heard, that they don't love them? No, that's my cousin or my aunt or my uncle or so-and-so. And I love them, but I don't like the way they behave. I don't like to be around them. And that's okay. So just like Trey said, if someone is toxic to you, if someone is disrespectful to you, see, it's one thing like when you tell your family and you make the decision to go vegan and you're aligning your actions with your morals, and you make that decision to change your lifestyle because you don't want to harm animals, you don't want to harm anybody, you don't want anyone to die just for your pleasure, and you share this with your family and friends and they see how important this is to you, and they still can't respect you and they still choose to go out of their way to poke at you, to tease you, to make fun of you, to do whatever it is that they're doing when they don't have to, when it's wrong, and they see how it negatively affects you and how much it hurts you, then that person doesn't deserve your presence around them, period. When they learn to respect you and show you the respect that you deserve, then it's okay to be around. There's family members, like I said, that know that I'm vegan and they don't tease me, they don't make fun of me, they respect, and they may even say, well, I'm sorry. They'll apologize to me because they'll be eating someone in front of me or something, or they'll grab something or they'll say something and be like, oh, I'm sorry. And my family calls me Pebbles. Oh, I'm sorry, Pebbles. My cousin did that to me in Halloween. She was like, she said something, she looks and she goes, oh, I'm sorry. Because they respect me, because they love me and they respect me. And so, but if they're not giving you that respect, then hey, I don't want to be around you. I'm sorry. Not sorry, but sorry, but not sorry. I don't need you around me. You're not going to respect me. I don't respect you. You don't respect me. I don't respect you. Period. So I don't know what Payton wants to say, but that's what I always say.
I mean, I don't have anything different to say than either of you. Yeah, I just don't be afraid to cut people out. Like if they're not gonna like if you've lost respect for somebody, I don't know, maybe that, like if I lose respect for somebody, I don't want to be around them at all, regardless of if they're my family or I've known them for, however many years. Sometimes people, they're just not worth your time, they're not worth your energy. And sometimes it's too exhausting. Like I have a friend who, and this is like, I'm a very vocal, animal rights activist, but one of my friends, I don't talk about animal rights with him because he's not open-minded. We've had this conversation 1,000 times and he's not willing to budge. He's not understanding. So we just don't talk about it. And like, he's a great friend. So I'd still respect him in other aspects, but we just can't. If we ever get in a conversation about animal rights, like I just can't. So maybe that is an avenue for you, but I mean, you shouldn't have to silence yourself just to get along with somebody. So yeah, don't be afraid to cut them out. That's my 2 cents.
All right. I hope that answers your question. And if you have a follow-up question, feel free to go ahead and type it in the chat. We have another question from Meat Free Mikey. What do you do if you get invited to work holiday parties? So that's a good one. I haven't been invited to, well, actually, no, that's kind of funny because I just got invited to something today. And I don't believe it's going to be like an hour long. It's going to be an ornament exchange. I've never done one of those. But it's an hour long, she said. So I'm going to assume there isn't going to be any food involved or anybody eating anyone. So I'm considering going. But at the end of the day, I would find out what it entails. Is it going to be a meal? Are they going to cater this event? Already, if it's a business event and it's not a vegan business, they are not going to cater to a vegan unless it's a small, like very small, personable business where they know you're vegan and they come to you specifically and say, hey, the holiday party this year, we're going to, give you some vegan options. What would you like? But for the most part, there's probably not going to be anything there for you. At that point, you really need to gauge the situation, like with everything in general. Is it somewhere you want to be? Um, is it something that, if it's a potluck type, you can always take that as an opportunity to do activism and bring delicious vegan food, cookies, and, you know, bake and bring stuff, you know, so people can have and they can know that vegan food is just as, you know, can be delicious, and you don't have to miss out on anything. Um, if it's not a potluck and it's, like I said, catered, then at that point, go after they eat and hang out with your coworkers if you really, really want to. Um, but at the end of the day, once again, don't be afraid to say no. Like I said before, and I'll say that I'm quick to say no. I mean, work, family, friends, what? No, I ain't going. That's it. Period. Um, so don't ever be afraid to say no. Yeah, that's your right. You know, you have a right to say no. They don't give the animals that right. So, you know, but we, you know, and where we want to give the animals their what they deserve and give them their rights to choose, and they take that right away from them. You're not going to take my right away too. And I'm going to continue to speak up for the animals, and I'm going to do what's right for them. So I'm going to say no on their behalf. You know, every day we speak up for them. So that's what I think about holiday work parties.
Yeah, I think it depends totally on the situation. So, for example, my girlfriend, they're doing at her work, they're doing this, like, I think it's like 12 days of Christmas or something like that. And they get like a little tiny gift leading up to Christmas, just something small, like a little cute hand sanitizer or like a little piece of candy or something like that. And, you know, she was just like straight up and said like, hey, just a reminder, like, if you're giving me something that's tested on animals or, you know, contains animal products or something like that, you know, it's always okay to politely refuse. You can refuse something like that if you're in that type of a situation, like a Secret Santa or, you know, what do you call it, Dirty Santa or Yankee Swap or whatever, or White Elephant, whatever you call it. And, you know, you can always refuse those type of gifts. If it's a food thing, you know, if you cook, you can bring something maybe, and maybe that would be a good opportunity to have a conversation. Or if you don't cook, maybe you can just pick up something nice from somewhere. That's probably what I would do. You know, and that can start a conversation. Maybe you haven't had the right opportunity to let people know at work that, you know, you're vegan, and maybe this is the right opportunity. Not saying you have to tell everybody at work that you're vegan. I mean, we could probably do a whole workshop on being vegan in the workplace, and I think that we probably will in the future. But, you know, if it's something you want to let everybody know, here's your opportunity. You can let everybody know. Whoever's in charge, you could say like, hey, are there going to be any like vegan options? Oh, what's vegan? Oh, okay, yeah, you know, most people know what vegan is, but some people don't down here in the southeastern United States, especially, I feel like. So yeah, there's a few options that you can do. I mean, it's going to depend on, like Annette said, it's going to depend on the party. Is it a big thing? Is it a small thing? You know, if it's a big thing, maybe you don't go. I don't know, or maybe you just come after everybody eats, or, you know, you got to figure out what's best for you. Oh,
Peyton, do you
Mike.
want to add to that, or?
I don't really have anything unique to add to that. I did want to say something else you can do if food is the biggest impasse, which it usually is for vegans around the holidays. You can always host your own event. Mikey said something in the chat that asking about veganism in the workplace, but he's the boss and inviting his workforce to a vegan holiday event. That's a great opportunity because you can make the rule, don't bring a dish with animal products, don't bring if you're doing a gift exchange, don't bring a gift that's, you know, not cruelty free or made with animal exploitation. You can make the rules then. So if you have enough time and energy, maybe you want to host the Christmas dinner or the New Year's party this year because, you know, if it's your house, you make the rules, you can tell them to go home, you know, then you're the one, then they're the one, you know, opting out. So it'd be great if, you know, you have the time and energy, or even a work party if you want to, even if you're not a boss, you know, if you say, let's have a vegan work party, the theme for this Christmas could be, you know, nobody has to be exploited or murdered. What a great theme. You know, you maybe just do something like that. So, you know, you can always get the jump on them.
All right, awesome. Um, well, I'm sorry, I'm laughing at my kid. But I like that question though. If your family doesn't want to do a vegan holiday for your sake as animal rights activists, is it frowned upon to disrupt your own family's gathering? Hmm. I mean, for me, it would be my son and I standing in front of the house with signs, you know? Why not, right? You don't want to, you know, you don't want to do anything for me. Well, then here I go. I'm going to teach you a lesson, you know? That's funny. But hey, you know, whatever chance you get to do activism with your family, he said like wearing thankful for vegans shirt to Thanksgiving. Yeah, that's great. You know, where sometimes I'll be around my family and we'll wear our vegan shirts with the vegan message on it. So that's a great way to do activism around your family and just, you know, remind them of what they're participating in. But the next thing I want is if anybody has anything they want to share, maybe a personal experience, maybe tips or advice that you can, anybody wants to share with their family or friends during the holiday season.
I can share a small tactic that I do around the holidays or anytime I'm eating an all vegan meal with my family. So my family's Catholic, so we always pray before we eat, and especially Thanksgiving, Christmas, like we all go around the table. And always when it's my turn, I'm always like, thank you for, you know, this meal where nobody was murdered and nobody had to die, and thanks for, you know, letting my family make the connection this one meal, you know, maybe, you know, they'll like I'll just go on and like I mean and they have to listen, you know, they all have to be quiet and let me say my thing, and like thank God, you know, they're not going to interrupt me. So, you know, if that is if religion is something integrated into your holidays, that's always a great opportunity to interject your piece.
Yeah, I dropped in the chat. I just like wear a shirt. So the one for Thanksgiving, I have a shirt that says like thankful for vegans and a picture of a turkey on it. That's just my little form of protest.
Yes, I love those, and I love that Payton. That's a good one. And you know, and also just saying that will get, you know, make them think too, because you're like you know, you're thankful that no one was murdered or killed for this meal. You know, but I think those are seeds that are planted, and just like a seed, you have to, you know, water it and give it sunlight, and you know, and little by little, that little seed continues to grow and grow, and eventually it'll turn into a tree one day. Just some seeds take longer than other seeds, but and that's what one thing we always have to remember. And it's just little things like Trey said, you know, with the shirt, you know, saying things like that at the table when you're being thankful, you know, thankful that you know, that nobody was murdered for this meal, or thankful that my family has decided to participate in a vegan meal with me, or thankful that your family respects that you're vegan, or whatever, you know, just little things like that, because those are just little seeds that you plant, and you know, every time those little seeds, eventually one day it'll pop up in their head. You know, they'll see something on TV, or they'll talk to someone random that happens to be plant-based or that's trying a plant-based diet, and they're gonna be like, oh, my cousin is vegan, and or they'll go to the grocery store and see something that they've seen you eating, and they may be curious to buy it. So you just never know what impact you're making on someone's life that is not vegan, just by your consistency, the way you choose to, say things, and just showing them how passionate you are and how dedicated you are, to your morals and to your stance. And little by little, they'll be seeing that, and you'll be impacting them. Like I said, anybody is welcome to chime in with anything. Hi, Jenna. How are you?
Jenna's got something.
All right, go for it, girl.
So recently, I was left alone with my stepfather for like 5 minutes. And I ended up walking out on him because he seemed genuinely interested in wanting to know, like, what I thought about hypothetical vegan world scenarios. And I was willing to talk to him, but at a certain point it seemed like he was more interested in asking questions than actually listening to what I was willing to say. And so I ended up getting really frustrated, and I left. And I don't know how to like smooth that relationship over now. Like, I haven't seen him since then, and I know he didn't mean to like aggravate me so much, but it was just like nothing was going through to him. And he just kept asking hypothetical situations after situations. And at this point, I don't know how to, I guess, reestablish like a boundary maybe there. I don't know.
So
Or to create one.
I have an experience that I can share that similarly happened with a family member that I can tell you. So I was at, I don't know, maybe a month or so ago. I was home, and my little brother still lives at home, and we went to the store, and we were shopping, and he grabs, sausages, and I'm like, I drove. So I'm like, that's not going in my car. There's no animal products in my car. And he got very upset. He started yelling at me in Walmart, calling me a bunch of names, like making a scene. It was a very like Walmart type of deal. So it was super, he was like, I'm getting him, like it was like a fight in the middle of this store. But I stood true to my ground, and we left and had a very awkward, silent car ride home. But when we got home, we still weren't like talking to each other for a few minutes, and he went downstairs. So I followed him and was like, even though all I said was that's not going in my car, and he was the one who was belligerent, I kind of took the high road, and I was like, hey, I want you to know I wasn't doing that to be annoying or, trying to start a fight. And then I kind of went on, I'm against all this stuff. I don't want to normalize it. And then he was like, honestly, I feel really bad. Like, that was embarrassing. Like, I'm so sorry that happened. Like, I'm so sorry I treated you like that. I totally understand. Like, so, he kind of acted like on impulse, maybe like your stepfather did, just things escalate. And once you've had time to sit back and reflect, like kind of realize maybe, you said some things you weren't proud of, and he's not, maybe like he was uncomfortable initiating it with me since he called me a bunch of names, maybe similar situation. So maybe you can take the higher road and just be like, hey, when we were talking, maybe some things were said, like I stormed out on you, I'm sorry, but this is why. And then just kind of, so maybe like you can take that first step and just try and smooth it over and initiate and just try and explain if things got heated, why they got heated, why you're so passionate about this issue, what it really means to you. So that was my experience.
Yes, that's great. And Cassia just typed in some words that you can use, which are really, really good. I feel blank when you blank. In the future, I'd like you to blank. So those are really actually really, really good words, because you're expressing your feelings, like Payton said, and you give them your why you feel the way you do. Because sometimes a lot of people think that vegans are just annoying, and they don't understand the reason why we are the way we are. They don't understand that, like Payton just said, she told him, I don't want to normalize that. So because we're fighting against, animal exploitation, something that's been ingrained in society for, hundreds of years, thousands of years. And it's so normalized, and it's normalized violence, like we always say. That's what we're trying to break. So when we say no to things that they think is insignificant, it's not insignificant, it's huge, it's a big deal. I don't want you to put that breast milk in my car, because I don't want you to think that it's okay to buy cow's breast milk. And by me saying it's okay for you to put it in my car, or, sausage, when I'm standing in front of, Smithfield, watching these, beautiful pigs going in to be slaughtered, but then I'm going to allow you to carry their body parts in my car. Not only am I allowing you to think that it's okay by doing that, but then at the same time, I'm going against my, morals and beliefs. And sometimes you have to, when it's calm and it's the right situation, sit down and talk to that person and tell them, I want to let you know how I felt, and I want to let you know why I got up and walked away, why I was so upset. And you have to understand, I want you to try to understand from my point of view why, this and this and that. And then eventually the person's going to say, if, hopefully. But for the most part, if they're open-minded and it's the right time, because some people, you just have to choose the right time to talk to people sometimes, then they'll be a little bit more understanding and respectful towards you and towards what you stand for. So.
Yeah, that's really good advice, Kasia. I think I actually used that one time without meaning to. So recently, I was out to eat with, a lot of my family, and, my mom's boyfriend was there, and he's a really good dude and everything. And everybody knows about my Liberation Pledge situation. I'm not going to eat, the body part, or be at a table where there's body parts or, secretions or anything like that. And his food came, and it had feta cheese on it. And he tried to order vegan because he knew that about me. He did respect me, and he tried to, but I guess he just didn't realize cheese was not vegan. I guess it was, it was vegetarian in his mind, whatever. So, man, it was really awkward. It was a really awkward situation for me. I'm like so non-confrontational at heart. Like I knew that it was probably an accident or whatever. And I was like, hey man, I was like, I'm really sorry, but I was under the impression that we were all eating vegan at this table. And he immediately felt so apologetic about it. And I know he's got a good heart, so that kind of made it even harder in a way. And he's like, oh, I'll just go sit and eat at the bar. And I'm like, oh, I don't want you to do that. Why don't you and my mom sit over here? And, me and my girlfriend will sit here, or whatever. And that's one of those moments where it's like, it's really tough. And he moved to another table with my mom, and it kind of like left, I don't want to say it wasn't tension, but it was just unresolved. Like I felt like I didn't have a chance to really explain the situation. So we were sitting at separate tables, and he got up to step outside for a moment, and I just like caught him, and I just like put my arm around him. I was like, hey man, it's nothing personal. I'm really glad you're here, with us. I just fight against the oppression of animals pretty much every single day. And I feel like I'm normalizing violence when I sit at the same table as something like that going on. And also just for my own mental state, it's hard for me to look at that because I view it as a product of suffering. And I know that you tried to order vegan, and I appreciate that, and I respect that you tried to do that for me. You know, I just wanted to let you know, like, no hard feelings, but I can't go back on my pledge. I can't go back on my word, and I don't want to. So I hope that you understand that. I hope that, you know, I know it can be hard to understand for someone who doesn't like live this every day like I do, potentially, but I hope that I explained it well enough for you to know that, you know, I don't hate you or anything like that. You know, I want everything to be cool. It's just, you know, I have certain boundaries that I'm, you know, going to stick to. So sometimes just, yeah, I mean, and I know that's a little bit of a different situation because like it wasn't an argument, like, but it was still something that was unresolved. So maybe just be calm and be honest, because, you know, just like Payton in her situation had every right to yell back at her brother and say, like, dude, you're acting like a, and and she didn't, you know, like, or at least if she did, she later took the high road. I don't know. She took the high road later and you know, initiated the resolve. And yeah, maybe that's what we have to do. Sometimes we kind of have to initiate that resolve, because unfortunately we live in a society where it's on us to have to explain what's moral, which seems silly, but you know, sometimes it's better to do that, especially if it's somebody we care about.
Solid advice from everybody.
Good, glad. All right. So anybody else, any other questions or thoughts or concerns, advice, anything? The floor is open. All right. So, okay. So then I guess we could start closing it out. I don't know, Payton and Trey, do you guys have any final words that you would like to say, share with anybody? Any final words?
I'll just kind of echo what I said earlier, which is, you know, I know this can be a really hard time. Do what you need to do. Remember to reach out to like-minded people, reach out to vegans, have a vegan event. You know, you can always reach out to me if you'd like. You know, my inbox is open if anybody needs to vent or talk or anything like that. And if you don't have a mentor, that's something that we do as mentors. You know, we're not professional psychologists. Well, actually, Payton has a degree in psychology, but I'm not a professional psychologist. Yeah, I mean, you know, but if you just need like somebody to listen to you vent, or just need a little bit of like back and forth, you know, that's what a mentor can provide for you if you want to sign up for one. Or if you just don't want to do anything official, you just want to like reach out to one of us, that's cool too. You know, it's a really difficult time for us. And as activists, you know, we spend so much time focusing on the suffering that the animals are enduring that it can be easy to neglect ourselves. And, you know, be sure not to neglect yourself and reach out if you want to talk, or just need to talk to someone who understands you.
All right. Thank you, Trey. And I'm going to follow up on what he said again. I want to reiterate, anytime if you feel down or anything, you can always reach out to any of the mentors with any questions or concerns. The AAM program has been around for a little over 8 months, probably 10 months, almost a year we're hitting. And we were just talking about how far we've come along in such a short period of time. And the reason we've been able to do so much in the shorter time that we have is because of the unity and the teamwork that we have. And we always have to remember that we have each other, and we should be here to support one another, because we all are on the same side. We all want to see the same end result. We all want total animal liberation. We want to end animal exploitation. So if any of our vegan brothers and sisters, or friends, are down and out and need support, then we should be able to be there for one another. So never hesitate to reach out to any of us, because we'll be more than happy to do whatever we can to make you feel better, or give you some advice or tips or anything like that. So thank you everybody again for taking the time to be part of this workshop today. We appreciate it. We wouldn't be able to put these workshops on without your participation. So thank you so much. And whenever we have any other workshops coming up, to share, invite other friends, family, even curious pre-vegans to come in. They may, want to ask questions or anything. They're more than welcome to join us. So if you know any pre-vegans that are curious, or have any questions or anything, they can definitely come and join our workshop. So invite them as well. If you know anyone that would love to be a mentee or part of the program as well, or a mentor, again, send them our way. And again, thank you so much, and we really appreciate it. Wishing everyone a happy holidays and happy new year. So thank you all, and have a good night.
Bye, everybody.
Good work, team.